The new Mantis X10 firearms performance system has all the goodness of the original, plus holster draw analysis and recoil analysis. It's a fantastic upgrade and I recommend it highly.
Hey guys, Brian Hill here for your Dry Fire Mondays with the Mantis system. And we're talking about how to improve our skills. We've been through a lot of the fundamentals. We worked on our draw stroke, worked on how to grip the pistol, we worked on our sights and trigger, how to follow through and have processing in it. We've worked on different hand positions to start from. If you haven't seen those videos, please go back and watch it. It'll help you tremendously before you start on this one. So those are the basic fundamentals that we have of shooting. So we need to add more to it. We added verbal skills last time in different hand positions. But now we're going to talk about the thing that's really important, is how do you move your feet? You've got to be able to move your feet. Moving your feet is really important in this. And we have to think about it. We have to have some sort of idea of how footwork is going to take place, because most of us don't run a lot anymore, is my feeling. Some of us do. Some of us jog, but this is more like as fast as you can take a couple steps, okay? And I'm not talking about that big, giant, exaggerated step off to the side. That does have its place, but I'm talking about actual moving. John just did a video on the fake courier that came to the gate, and he asked the question, do you practice moving and drawing? And strangely enough, I was going to do this video anyway, so it all works out. We're on the same page. All right, go Team Active Self-Protection. Let's talk about how you move. Okay, there's two ways that you can move your feet down here. One is called the drop step, and one is called the lean step. Okay, and one may be working better for you than the other one. All right, one is a little bit efficient, but one may be a little softer on your start position. So the drop step looks like this. I take the foot and I drop it out in the direction I want to go. I rotate the feet and I take the step off. Very simple. That's why it's called a drop step. Step goes out and then I take the step off. Part of me is going that way, so that means I'm not as quick to go this way. So it's a little less efficient, but for some people it feels better on their knees and ankles. And if you have injuries, this is going to be really important. I was hit by a car. They were going to amputate my leg at one point in my life, and they saved it. So my ankle's kind of a mess. Nobody knows, though, because I practice working on moving all the time. I cut up my videos like this, or my practice like this, is one day I do it standing still, and one day I do it moving. One day I do it standing still, one day I do it moving. So it keeps the dry practice fresh, and I don't get bored with just drawing and seeing the sights and trigger. I start to add things. Remember, whenever you add a new skill in, whichever is the weakest of the fundamentals or that new skill, it will deteriorate under pressure because now you have what we call a cognitive stack. There's several processes in there. If you want to get good at anything, you need to have unconscious competence in it. That means you don't have to think about it. Often miscited Hicks' law. It doesn't really apply to athletes in the same way that they think that more decisions makes it more difficult. A lot of our decisions are pre-programmed. You're going to move your feet in such a way, and that's what your dry practice is going to do. Okay. The lean step for you guys is something I want you to think about. I put the weight to the outside edge of the foot, all right, and I start to lean in the direction I want to go, and I simply remove the supporting leg, which allows me to step very quickly to the position I want to go. So it's a lean and then step, all right, almost a step slide. Fighters use this a lot to cover distance. Now, if we're doing mixed martial arts, we're doing jiu-jitsu, we're doing Muay Thai, we don't cover a lot of distance. We have to step like this, but we're always thinking about how to move our feet most effectively. Here's one thing you don't want to do. You don't want to cross your feet because your feet get tangled up on each other and you end up falling. So be very careful of that. And just kind of hopping like this, if you notice, my body really hasn't moved that much. Feels like I'm moving my feet, but I'm still keeping myself in front of it. The cues for us to move would be if his whole body turned and looked the other way, if his head turned and looked the other way, or maybe lost visual contact with you. You would be moving to something that would better your position, like getting out in front of him, or going to cover. Okay, you've got to think about the context of this. I can't put out say do this, do this, do this. You got to think about when would I do this, but it's good to practice the skills. The other thing is it'll make your drawing more efficient. So since I only have 2 steps, I have to be done with my draw in 2 steps. I start putting these timing issues together for it. Okay, I may use 2 hands or 1 hand. Depends which way I'm going. So if I'm moving to my right, it's very easy for me to lean out with this foot, clear, and get both hands on the gun. Now let's check the gun. Safety rounds in there. Gun is safe here. It's always been safe. It came out of the holster safe. And my friend, the tripod, is incredibly safe for me right now. And I have a safe direction behind him. Good. So if I'm going this way, though, as I lean my foot out and step here, it's very hard to get the other hand on the gun. It kind of binds me in place. So I may actually have to shoot with one hand going that direction. You can only shoot as fast as you can see the sights. And it's really important. Gabe White does a great section of this in his shooting class. He took about 12 shooters when I was in class 2 weekends ago, and everybody was hitting the alpha on the move. You can shoot accurately while you move. The problem is, in the training industry, it's really hard to train people to move, because how do we do that with a group? Gabe puts almost 2 hours aside in his class to work with each person individually, and he runs them back and forth with them. So it's very hard. But you're at home, you've got a safe space, you're not shooting, so dry practice is the perfect place to begin to develop this. All right, then go get a class on movement, and you get to shoot and see how it is. So I, of course, can just move where I want to go and then draw the gun out. Okay? But it would be better and more efficient for me as I start to move and I get my hands moving too, so that when I get there, I already have the sights on the target, and it makes it much easier to shoot the gun from that position. Okay? So as I start to step out here, my hands are moving and drawing at the same time. Now notice I didn't do that real fast. What do I want to do first? I want to do it slowly so I can feel how my feet are, and then I'm going to start getting rid of inefficiency. So I want to lean a little bit. I'm going to pull that foot out of the way. Got to move my hands quickly. Now I tried it with 2 hands, and what it did was really bind my body. It made it hard to get back to the camera. So I know if I'm going this way, I'm probably going one-handed. Now I'm going to lean this way, and when I move, you can see the difference. It's much easier for me to get the hands out there. If he's a right-handed opponent, he got a weapon, this way would be the right way for me to go if I can get away from the weapon side. Shooting's not quite the same thing as unarmed combat. So as I move here, and my hand clears, see how quick that comes out? It's closer to the target. One of the true advantages of appendix is if you're doing the strong side holster, and I don't want to forget you guys, but remember, as you turn, you have to draw, and you got to be careful of this hand. This is how people shoot themselves in the hand, because this hand's pumping. So be very careful of that. So as you draw, get the other hand on the gun when you move to that side. When you move from here, just straight out to the position. Get those feet moving. See if they can move quickly for you. If you're not making noise, you're probably not moving hard enough. So what I want you to practice is once you get warmed up, joints are ready to go, you've gotten over your injuries, then start really move. See if you can get that gun out and see the sights. Can't shoot until you see the sights. Okay? Same thing going the other side. Really move, get it going. It's not a fast step per se, but it needs to be sudden and explosive. What we don't want to do is give it away and do a lot of this. I just shift my weight to this position, remove the foot, and then I'm getting the gun out. All right, guys, so that should give you a little, I don't know, something more to work on in dry practice. I hope it's fun for you. We want to develop unconscious competence in these cognitive stacks so that you can be better at what you do. And that's really important. The other thing is you'll become more efficient at drawing because you only have 2 steps to do it. You only have 2 steps until you get there. We could talk about coming into position of cover and all that, but I think it's beyond the scope of these videos. Here's the one thing I would say. If you're going to move, you need to get the gun up and be ready to shoot as soon as possible because you need to see the sights. People tend to move with the gun down or up. Now, if somebody was in front of me and I started to move, my gun may come here and then go to the target, or it might come here and then go to the target. So there's something else for you to practice. Moving with ready positions too. If your life's on the line, it's hard to stand still. There are times to stand still and deliver the most accurate fire you can. Usually those have a bit of distance in them. There's something in between you and the other person, but you're going to start moving your feet. John has compiled a great archive of how many people, how they move, what they have to do. Start watching the videos and start thinking, is that something I might have to do? And then put it in your dry practice, okay? There's some great books. I have some behind me. Mike Seeklander's book, Ben Steger's book. Yes, they're geared towards competition, but they cover a lot of these motions and how to put it together. And those guys have been thinking about moving for a lot longer than anybody else at how to do it efficiently. So maybe that'll help you, okay? Remember, I want you guys to measure what you're doing. I want you to refine it and then perform it. Measure, refine, and perform. All right, thanks for tuning in. I hope everybody enjoyed the video. Thank you, Active Self Protection Extra. Make sure you subscribe, stay up with the latest videos, and go watch Active Self Protection's video itself and start looking for these things about how you would do it in that position. We now have a great archive of what fights look like, and that way you can be ready for it because you keep seeing it. remember, words are strong, but if we can turn words into pictures, it's much, much better. And if we can turn pictures into motion, it's even better. If we can visualize our practice and then practice it as we move, we'll become very efficient. This is an upper level practice. Make sure you're safe. Be careful with this, but enjoy it, and be easy on your joints. Make sure you warm up a little bit. And this may be a great place for you to get a little more active. When I do this drill in the morning, I end up running, 10 sprints each direction. Not very far, 5-10 yards, something like that, just to keep those muscles firing. And I want to keep that quick response, that fast speed response in my body, so that when I need to explode, my hands are still quick, my feet are still quick. And I think that's as much as a mental state of being as it is physical, and it allows you to grow as a shooter. All right, good luck to you guys. Remember, measure, refine, and perform. I'm Brian Hill with The Complete Combatant. Thank you very much.